What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Alex KFE, and today we have another video. Today we're going to be going over one of my favorite archetypes, actually, period, in this game. It's really become my comfort pick. If you've watched my channel or seen any of my content, you know that I've been jamming Magnolia for just metas where I had no business even playing it. So I really do enjoy this deck. This is something that's near and dear to my Vanguard heart, so to speak. And without further ado, let's hop right in. I just want to give a general summary of the 4 different decks we're going to go over today. I really believe that Patriarch is actually support for every Magnolia, whether that be the grade 4 Masque, a budget version if you really want to get it off, and just the standard Patriarch build itself. So we will be covering a deck list for each and every one of them. I have tested these. I'll tell you my favorite at the end. I won't kind of spoil anything, so look forward to that. But just in interest of, you know, conserving your time, I'm going to go over the general summary. Masque, super aggressive, still has the highest potential, highest ceiling, I believe. Magnolia Elder allows itself to have a really great farm, very passive kind of play style, very easy flowing, resource generating, field generating, things like that, like super easy. It's kind of been the way I like to personally play these decks. And then Patriarch kind of is somewhere in the middle, where it has great cards that really do support it for itself, but it also has some of that Elder-esque kind of card draw, kind of the recursion kind of stuff going on, plus a triple drive and whatnot. So there's a whole lot going on with this, which I actually really like. So a lot of different ways. I really got my juices flowing for some of these lists. So without further ado, let's hop right in. And again, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. I haven't been doing videos for a while now, starting to get back into the groove of it. So it definitely does help with the algorithm. I definitely appreciate you guys. All right, so starting off, we're going to start off with the Masque build. Like I said, just kind of go in the order that I went over the summary. With the Masque build, I'm still just running the regular ride line over here. Nothing too crazy. You can grab the order back off of this guy. Patriarch itself is actually pretty great because it gives us, if you now have a turn where you kind of miss Magnolia Masque, yeah, you might not have persona'd, or maybe you're forced to go first, something like that. You have a real turn here, and you're not just like blowing your combo, kind of like forced to go into Magnolia Masque just to get like a semi-decent turn. Like, this is a good in-between break ride, so to speak. So if you're forced to go into it and actually play a turn out on it, you're getting still 5 attacks off of this guy. Let's go over his skills because it is new. When this guy is placed on Vanguard Circle, choose the 1 card with Sylvan Hornbeast and its card name from your drop, call it the rear. So no longer has to be in soul, it could be from drop, which is actually really nice. On Vanguard Circle, also, if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, all of your rear guards can intercept from the back row and get 5k. If you Persona roll this turn, this guy gets an extra, drive over here. Also, just be aware that the extra 5k is active on your opponent's turn too. So like if you have a 10k in the front row, it's like perma 15, for example. The extra drive makes it like Elder, where it's super easy to just kind of flow through, like you gain pressure through your drive checks, which I personally really like. You know, drive checks in this game, I've always said that like Standard is a game of such fine margins where, you know, 1 extra trigger can go a whole long way, especially with over triggering the decks. Lastly, act on Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, you counterblast 1, choose the same number of your rear guards as the grade of your opponent's Vanguard, and then they get the red text that they can attack from the back row until the end of turn. So you basically ride up first, CB1, boom, 2 of your guys now can attack from the back row, which is good because it helps you generate resources. On top of that, we'll go through how that really happens. On top of that, we have 5 attacks on our ride up turn. So I get it, there might be pokes, there might not be insane crazy numbers initially, but overall, it just feels really good to kind of have at least that kind of thing going for us. Like, we have a real kind of alternate plan in that regard. Magnolia Masque, I'm not going to go over the skills. This has been out for quite a while, and I'm sorry if this is like a new build to you. Just generally gives 10k to anything on a Dragon Tree marker. Can only be ridden from the grade 3 Magnolia. You know, the whole Masque package has to be in there because of it. And I feel like that's like its biggest flaw, in that if you miss things, you know, if it's a little bit fragile with like just really not finding the pieces to go into the Masque successfully, I feel like that's when you kind of suffer. But if you do, if all cylinders are firing and like it's really your game, it's been that way, I feel like this almost will be the, like I said, the highest ceiling, the biggest power thresholds, the biggest ease of play almost, in a way. So I really do actually like this deck, and I have to rebuild this one physically. I'm waiting on a couple duplicates, but I have my grade 4 kind of build in a physical form as of right now. I will go over this card just because this is a promo. It did get reprinted, as a little bit cheap. This was a promo. Yeah, this was a promo. But it did get reprinted, and this is unique to Masque. So basically, this guy just Soul Blast 1, you counter charge, gets an additional 5k. Really good. It's very Magnolia Masque specific. Also, this guy can intercept from the back row, gets an additional 5k for each of your Dragon Tree markers. So giving you that value, insulating your deck, because your hand size isn't crazy in this deck, at least as crazy as the other 2, I find. So with that being said, I feel like that actually is a big boon. Same thing with this over here. Its last skill, let's go over that first, actually, just while I'm on that topic, is actually pretty underrated in general. When your unit with Sylvan Hornbeast and its card name is attacked, retire this unit, choose one of the guys being attacked, extra 10k until the end of battle. This gets around things like Vargo, where it's like you can't intercept or whatever. Like, sure, like you have a back row intercept, just guess what? It's turned off. Oh, that sucks. Guess what? I'm just going to use this skill. So it is cool to kind of have that. And again, insulating your deck, building that field, making sure that, yeah, my hand size might not be the greatest out of all these builds, but at least I'm getting some shield value here too. Also, you can EV3, I think it's 3, yeah, I think it's 3 over here. But you can basically call a Sylvan Hornbeast from your drop, or a grade 3 or less Dragon Tree for a Magnolia Masque, because we do have Dragon Trees in this, because it is obviously a Masque deck. I love to run more of these, I honestly really would, but I think that it's just too important to just, there's so many other things in this deck that are really good, that I think that if you see 1 or 2 of these, I think it's absolutely fine. You can just kind of rotate and keep them in play over and over. But this is a new card, Sylvan Hornbeast, Voldier, I think that's how to say it. When this guy attacks, you can, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Magnolia in its card name, till the end of battle, this guy gets 5k and your opponent cannot intercept. So again, a little bit of that intercept play thing going on that I mentioned before with the retire unit. Also auto on rearguard circle at the end of your turn if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Magnolia in its card name. Unit attacks from the back row, put this guy into soul, draw a card. This is our new Inlet Pulse. Inlet Pulse really didn't fit in this deck previously, but so we lost out on like a ton of utility not including that, but now with this card, it does the Sylvan Hornbeast card name. It has that 5k intercept, it gives itself power. It just, everything is just an upgrade pretty much. The number thresholds are a little bit different, but really shouldn't matter too much in this deck that's giving away power like it's no tomorrow. So I personally really do like this card. I wish I can put it a little bit more, you know, you could tweak this 1 or 2 things here or there, but in general with the Masque package, it's a little tight, so I think I have it at 2, and that's pretty healthy. Sylvan Hornbeast Commandrel over here is also new. Drop when this guy, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Magnolia and its guard name is placed, you can do one of the following. If you do not have a rear guard with the same guy, same name as this, closed rear, opponent's Van is grade 3 or greater, it gets an extra 5k. On top of that, you can also put this card into soul and choose one of your Vanguards, and that unit's original act abilities gets reduced by Counterblast 1 until the end of turn. So this guy over here doesn't have a Counterblast. Obviously this one does, so if they counterstarve you, they're not giving you the thing, you know, you can take this guy, use it as fodder if you have the feeling that they're going to actually starve you and not really go for it, you know, because you've gone for the ride line, you put rear guards onto those circles, you get rid of this guy, hopefully you find him, he basically refunds the cost of that Patriarch right there. So I feel like it's just like a necessary play. On top of that, we do use Counterblast for a lot of other things in this deck, starting off with these, like we've been pretty much in the clear up to this point, but yeah, that's pretty much it for that guy. But this guy over here, again, another Magnolia Masque. You basically CB1, choose grade 3 or greater cards, grade 3 or less cards from your drop, equal to the number of Dragon Tree markers, call them to rear guard circle. When this guy attacks, also choose one of your Vanguards with Magnolia in its card name. It gets an additional 5k until the end of turn. So it doesn't actually say that it has to be Masque over here. It could just be Magnolia. So if you wanted to, you know, you're stuck on this, it still has some interaction in that regard, you know, but you do need the Masque to kind of have the revives. This is a better revive card. There is the other one, which we will be going over a little bit for the Counterblast Soul Blast. The Counterblast is just easier in the Dragon Tree deck. Obviously, you don't want to be Soul Blasting if you don't have to. This guy over here, this is the Dragon Tree Wretch. You just need to do it. We don't have a Stoichio version. Like, I think Keter and Dragon Empire got like new versions where you Energy Blast for this. It's something very similar. Stoichio didn't get that, so we still just have to rock with the old one. Counterblast Soul Blast, choose a rear guard without Dragon Tree markers, put a marker down, and then search your deck for up to 1 Masque, reveal it, put it into your hand. Just if we don't have the Masque, like, you're absolutely screwed, you need it. So with that being said, I prioritize this guy over the grade 1. 1 Gold Goat, if you find him, it's great. It's kind of like a win more card at that point. Gives itself a bunch of power, 10k in the back. Does that into soul, draw a card. So again, you will have soul to keep doing things because we do use soul on a couple things here, obviously. It just feels good to kind of recycle and get that off. Pops into soul, gives your Vanguard an extra 5k when your Vanguard is placed over there. I think that one has to be during the ride phase, right? Your Vanguard Magnolia is placed during the ride phase. So this one's a little bit different. So if you find it, I feel like it's just permanently stays in the game with this revival over here. It's just so easy to kind of like recycle. With that being said, there's kind of a couple like 1 or 2s in here that we kind of use that mentality with overall. 3 of this guy right there, because we are obviously playing Vanguard, so we do need BGs. 1 of the Restander. Now I feel like a lot of people skip out on this card. I feel like in the Masque build you can't do that. You have to be playing this, just because if you're on a Dragon Tree marker, you have the Persona Ride in the back row, which we'll go over in a second. This guy just restanding, then becoming a huge booster is just so nice. So I personally really like this. If it's on there, you know, if you restand, you get it off. It's a little bit more of that win more, which I feel like this deck has tons of like little cracks and crevices where it's just like, these are really powerful cards. If you do find them, if you find one of them, find like, you know, whatever, you can just keep on recycling it. Like I've said, this is our searcher. You can go and play the other one. I think it's, what is it, the grade 1 triple rare that just came out. I just feel like we need the back row power up in this deck, in this build. Power shutout is kind of like the name of the game. This guy allows us to do it. Sylvan Hornbeast Sorrel, I think that's how to say it. My eyes are terrible right now, can't read. If you have a grade 3 Vanguard, with Magnolia in its card name, and you Persona Ride, basically you get the power in the back row as well. So that on top of the Dragon Tree marker, on top of any other power it gives itself, like you're hitting like over 38k very, very easily into some of those 40s as well if you hit a trigger. So this is part of that plan. Also, when this guy is placed on rear from hand or deck, if you have a Vanguard with Sylvan Hornbeast in its card name, you Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose one card with Magnolia in its card name and reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. Calling off the ride line, getting this guy to go and fire, finding that Masque just makes things so easy. So I'm including it out of 3 of. You can tweak some of these ratios if you want to like play around consistency wise, but I feel like it is pretty consistent. Out of 3 of it, you don't need more than 1 in play. Again, it's just that you need to really find the Masque. To do that, I feel like having this is just so much easier to kind of find it. Lastly, over here for our regular grade 3s, I mean regular normal units in deck, when this guy's this is the other Dragon Tree Wretch. When it's placed on rear, you Counterblast 1, basically create a Dragon Tree marker so you can attack from the back row with Masque. On top of that, also if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, Counterblast Soul Blast 1, choose normal order from your drop, put it into your hand. Honestly, if this could extend, there's like multiple extenders, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3. This is, I guess, you can kind of call it the 4th, because we are doing, what is it, because we are getting another order off here, and that could Persona Ride and draw us again. So there's like extension plays, but that is the main deck right here. For the trigger lineup, actually, obviously, let's just go over the orders first. Magnolia Masque needs masks, so we have 2 of them in here. You don't really need to do the combo more than once. You can kind of recycle these, get these orders back if you really need to. It's pretty easy. Also, one of the regular Elementary Sanctitudes as well, so we don't mind running that. But I'm just going 4 normal heals for the triggers for this guy. Typically, I like doing a lot of like rainbow-esque stuff for Magnolia, but in this build, I want to close out the game as soon as I possibly can. There's no triple drive in this, so you have to make the most of your drive checks. I think 8 crit in this is correct. I do use soul, so I do have the into soul crits here. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. For the trigger lineup, I'm a little conflicted. I like to have, like I said, a little bit of a rainbow. Sometimes that extra draw is good. I feel like in a nutshell, in like the perfect world where everything was kind of equal, I would love to run pure draws in this in terms of like my 3 slot, but numbers are so big in this game now at this point, you just like can't do it. So I feel like you need to be running fronts. Draws are just not great. Like, they help you find the pieces, and again, this is a piece reliant deck, but at the same time, it does have a lot of revive, a lot of extension kind of potential. So I feel like you get away with 1, try it out, see what you like, really take it from there. That's the gist of it. But also for the OT, Blast Favor is like great. Just do it. Heals, gives you extra draw, like I said. A front trigger, just everything is the Omni trigger. I feel like every OT should have been something like this, but yeah, that's really it. But that is it for the Magnolia Masque build. Again, this is the powerhouse guy. This is the guy at the highest ceiling. This is the go punch him in the face, try to end the game as soon as possible. Not that you don't want to do that with the other decks, but like, this is the highest power ceiling in terms of doing that. Next up here too, we are going to look at a Magnolia Elder. Now, Magnolia Elder, like I said, this is the easy flowing deck. This is like, it basically plays itself. Pilot's super easy. There's not like a whole ton of things that go on that you don't really expect, so to speak. But my build is a little different than other people's, I think, in general. And I'm going to discuss some of that too at the same time. I know I've seen a couple deck profiles actually. They're really cool. Some unique stuff going out there. Again, this is my playstyle. This is what I want to do in this deck. Take it with a grain of salt, do exactly what you want to do, change this up, use this as a template, completely fine. You know, go use other creators too. This is just, you know, my 2 cents in the pool right there. So for Elder, we are running the same exact ride line. I'm not going to go over that again. Very easy, simple. I think that's just the best one for this right here. But Elder is pretty much the same as the Patriarch, except it doesn't have a counterblast cost. Also, you choose a card from your soul when this is called down instead of from the drop zone. So a little bit different there. But basically, if you have a Magnolia in your card name on rear or in your soul, all of your rear guards can attack and intercept from the back row, and they get an extra 5k. So simple. It's a grade 4, so a lot of slots in deck taken up. There's no Persona Ride on it, obviously, but I think, again, the way this deck kind of wins, it's through sheer kind of like waves. you know, you take your turn, you do it, you recoup a lot of resources in the meantime, and you push again. You go do it again and again, and you're just wearing at the wall of your opponent, eroding them over time. That's always been my kind of philosophy with this deck, and it's kind of how I've always built it. Some new additions to this guy is actually really cool over here. We do run this because it is searchable off of something, and I feel like this was a really good actually option to kind of do that with. This guy is a grade 3, gets an additional 5k shield and gets the intercept ability as well. But on back row rearguard circle, when this guy attacks, if you're a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Magnolia, just gets an extra 10k, just a big beat stick, and it still has a little bit of insulation. So I kind of dig that in my opinion. You know, very easy to get cards back to. So if you want to keep doing that, just pounding, making sure that like, oh, I don't have to put trigger power on here to hit that 28k kind of threshold, this is the guy to go do it with. One anger love, because I'm not running the hostage package or anything like that kind of like recycles and goes and gets things back. I don't think it's worth it. Like we're not so focused on persona rides. Like there's like a hybrid list. I think I'm getting a little too ahead of myself here. I'll explain it later, but anger love is really good just to get a grade 2 or grade different card from your drop, put it into your hand. You find one of these and it's like super easy just to like kind of recycle it over and over. I feel like we're not so dependent on this the way some other decks are, so I don't run them at more than one copy. I feel like one copy is fine. Again, this is searchable off of something too. This is kind of like your backup plan. Also, the 15k guard is really nice as well. You're not striding, so you're not going to draw a card, but those are our two like grade 3s actually that I really do like. Find myself always kind of going into him. A lot of people took this out. I feel like I always need this guy. He's just so good to revive something. Energy Blast is not something that we use like crazy in this deck. So that being said, I feel like this is just great for an extension. Again, it really helps against that Varga matchup. Things like, you know, things that shut off your intercept. It's just insulation. It's just rebuilding your board for almost like a immaterial cost in general. So I feel like it's too good not to include it. This time around, like I said, you're doing the wave. This is part of that wave strategy in my mind, where like you're just putting as many of these on the board as you can. Like, yeah, you might not be making the best numbers in the world, but like if I'm drawing 2-3 times every single time by reviving these guys, like sure, like I'm gonna last longer than you. And in general, like my triple drive will break through, something will break through if I can survive, and this guy kind of helps you do that in general. So I'm running max copies in this deck. That is just my personal opinion. This was what I was doing with like Inlet Pulse before, but this is just like a better version for a lot of different reasons, like I kind of went over before as well. This guy over here, Commodrell, I'm just running at 1 of, just because it is something that can go and pop onto your board. There's going to be times where like you're not going to be able to, you know, you have like 1 or 2 cards, like one kind of like starter in hand, and that's it. You've kind of like survived a turn. This guy will just get you back. Also, if your opponent is counter starving you early, you do find this, you ditch it, you know, boom, you can actually just go put it into your soul, reduce the cost, and making sure that your grade 3 ride up turn is really decent, because we're not like forced to go second anymore. Like we can go first and still have a pretty decent 5 attack turn in general. Another difference with the other deck compared to this one, how do you say this? This is Bennis Body. Oh yeah, I've been reading the card. I forgot I can read the actual name down here. Bennis Body is great because for every 2 grades of your Vanguard, if it's placed other than battle phase, yeah, you counterblast Soul Blast 1. You basically revive every 2 grades. You revive 1 card from drop. So if you're on Magnolia Elder, you basically get 2 cards from drop, and then from there, like you can extend out also. Like it's absolutely great. When this guy attacks, also choose one of your Vanguards with Sylvan Hornbeast and its card names for every 2 grades of that unit. This guy gets 5k, so it gives in itself an extra 10k. That's a 25k guard. Not the best number in the world, obviously, but it is a 15k out of hands when you're attacking with a whole board full of kind of that funny little, oh man, I need to give 15k across the board. Like that really does help. So power to itself, super extension. Like we don't use counterblasts for a lot of other things in this deck, so that's kind of where we're at with that. Next up here too, because this is a grade 4 deck, this is such a bad card, but we just have to run it. There's no way around it, in my opinion. I've played without this, and sometimes it feels just too fragile. This guy is Sylvan Hornbeast Ilkewin, so when this guy is placed on rear, if you have a grade 3 or greater with Magnolia and its card name, Soul Blast 1, discard a card, search your deck or drop for up to 1 card with Magnolia and its card name, different from your Vanguard, or up to 1 grade 0 card, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. If you're like desperate and you're on your grade 3 turn, you're going for it, and like, you know you don't have the grade 4, you have this guy, you just, boom, search your deck. I feel like at more than 1, it's just so terrible, but at the same time, it's like that necessary evil. You just kind of need it. Gold to Goat, I do want to have it like maybe 3. I'm trying to play with some ratios, but there's just like a lot of things I want to include in this deck. So it's at 2 of right now. I feel like you can bump it to 3 pretty safely. You can even put Gold to Goat in the ride line. I've seen some people do that too, which is really cool because then you're guaranteed to just kind of have it over and over. But I like the grade 2 in the ride line. But when this guy attacks from the back row, obviously we went over the skill actually before. So power, resource kind of generation, super easy kind of stuff. It also helps your Vanguard game power, because without the 5k that this guy gives you, like, your Vanguard swinging triple drive, sure, but it's like a 13k. So unless you boost it, it's kind of like a wet noodle attack in a way. It's like 15k for 2 is like bad. So that guy makes it a 15k for 1, which is a whole different ball game on a triple drive. One Alpin over here, just because we do use resources. There's times where, like, you know, you notice you just don't have enough for this guy, for example, and he's your main extender out, or maybe you're soul blasting a whole lot around here. I feel like just 1 is really good. Also, it should kind of be like a 25k attacker, like I said, 5k into the end of turn for every 2 your grade 2 or greater cards. Just big number on there, which is really nice. One of the Unicia, I feel like people also kind of, I know this isn't in my Masque build, but people sleep on this a little bit. Like, it's either way too included or way under included. One, it might be a little under, but at the same time, I feel like space is a little bit limited here. There's 1 or 2 things you could have done. But I feel like if you have one, put your triggers on him, spread it around, it's absolutely fine. Like even a 15k in and of itself, going on something that's already 25k, like boom, 40, you're hitting different thresholds. Very, very easy. I feel like spreading power with this guy, especially if you hit OT, is just too good to pass up on. So I'm running it at 1 of. It is part of a lot of other people's strategies, or it's like completely cut. I feel like neither one of them is really my play style. I feel like at 1, maybe 2 of, it is pretty good. This over here too, if you are going second, this is what you need to see in your hand. You kind of, you know, just mull for this, mull super hard. This is going to be Friendship Fairy. So if you're a Vanguard with Magnolia in its card name, your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counterblast 1, put this unit into soul, choose up to 1 grade 4 card. Magnolia in its card name from hand, ride it. Basically, if you're going second, opponent's on grade 3, pop this guy down, you go into your grade 4 from hand. Not the easiest card in the world to find, but again, we have like a decent first turn here in general too. If you Persona Road, you get the extra drive, but like, we're not going to Persona Ride, obviously. I just feel like at 2 of, you see it enough. You have a lot of card draw in here. I don't really actually like have an issue. I think there's so many things here too, like that kind of search, just draw, just recoup in general. So I do actually really like this, but at 2 of, I wish I can get rid of this whole package, but again, you need to ride up. You need to go and do this right here, just in case, you know, it really becomes like the 5th copy of your Elder in a way. So I personally do just run it this way. Going a little bit deeper into the deck, it's kind of weird how they formatted it here. I wanted to kind of do all these at the end maybe, but that's all right. 2 Patriarch habitats, again, makes it easier to go find these, makes it easier to find the 1-ofs, put these things into play, because once one of them is in play, you know, the Bennis body is going to be start spamming, recycling. This guy over here too, the Lilikoi, I think that's how to say it, I don't know, starts spamming back into play. You know, get these guys out of the drop, you're drawing more, running into more of your cards. This guy can pop out too if you want to. So there's just like a lot of recursion. I feel like this is another extender that kind of gets you where you want to go. You can go and, you know, pop this guy down, and then boom, all of a sudden your drop zone is reviving. Off of 1 card, off of 1 starter like this, your whole field could just be revived. So too good not to include in a way. 3 of our Custodial Dragon, 1 of, where is it? This guy over here. This is the grade 4 Elementaria Sanctitude, the one that can be played with the grade 4s, so it's nice that we have that. Over here, this is a really interesting include. This is like a flavor tech I'm trying out. I've actually enjoyed it. Your G-Zone has no card. This guy gets all the following, so obviously we don't have a G-Zone in this. In your hand, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you can discard this card, but a total of 2 cards from your ride deck basically back in. Look at the top 7. Choose up the 1 grade 3 card with a different card name from your Vanguard. Among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. If it didn't reveal, put this back into your hand. Basically, this is another searcher for your grade 4. On top of that, you can go and get the other grade 3s. What I like too about this is the fact that grade 3 or greater card with different card name from your Vanguard doesn't say it has to be like a normal card. All right, yeah, it doesn't say normal at all. So like you can go and search this, for example, the Forbital. You can go and search the other 2 grade 3s, the grade 4. It just feels super consistent. On top of that, it is big time insulation. So when this guy's put on Guardian Circle, if your drop is 4 or more cards, it gets an extra 5k, so 10k, which is pretty nice. Your opponent's G-Zone has a card. You can bind a grade 3 or greater card from your drop. This guy gets an additional 10k, so then it becomes a 20k guard. So in the rare times where, you know, you're running somebody right now is playing a G-Zone, I think Messiah is still around. Jet is pretty rogue, but it's good. There are some cards that I guess are, yeah, Night Rose and stuff. It's just when you do see it and, you know, you're in that right scenario, I feel like it's very much worth it. So just one of, you can cut that. That is definitely like a flavor thing for me in general. This guy over here too, this is not as necessary. But again, part of that wave strategy is just like, okay, my numbers aren't great, but like I'm gonna keep poking you, and like this is part of that poke. They might hit defensive. All right, cool. Now I have a 13k booster though. Like I'm helping my front row unit get over that. On top of that, so like, you know, you're swinging with this guy, for example, right? You're boosting him 10k, 23, 28 plus that 13, 41. So makes it a little bit better overall. I don't know, just numbers wise, I don't mind having that booster. This is definitely a win more. You can cut this card, but I personally just kind of like it a little bit. So I do include it in mine. Getting into the last card here in the main deck. This again is another flavor tech. This is just going along with what the deck already does and does so well. It just accentuates that advantage for you. This is going to be Sports Festival at the Fields today. So this is a pretty rare card. I don't see anybody really playing this, but again, my idea with this is that I'm drawing out, I'm conserving, I'm making sure that I have enough to go the extra mile, and I'm just regenerating my field next turn. It doesn't matter if you get rid of all my stuff, I'll have the resources to do it, and this card kind of helps you get there. Place with Energy Blast 2, choose one of your rear guards until the end of turn. It gets at the end of your turn. If the total number of attacks this turn is, 4 or more, draw a card, and that unit gets an additional 5k, so helps with the number, helps with the card draw, you know, pop this off of something that doesn't tuck itself into soul, and boom, you've just gotten more value for it. So not only is their card still on board, but you're still getting that soul action, so you don't have to always replace every single unit. Like you don't have to extra call over something with this right here. So it replaces itself, and plus it's 5k. So I personally do like it. I think it really just goes well with what the deck wants to do. You can take that out and put in like another card, you know, splash another Holy Goat or whatever it is that you really want in here, just to kind of make it a little bit more. But the 4-bit-all, obviously we have our 2 grade 3 targets over here if you already have the grade 4, but I'm a wussy. I'm afraid of not having a grade 4. I feel like I have so many ways to get it in this deck. At the same time, this just kind of secures it as well. If you do run into it, great card. I feel like you just kind of almost have to. There's a lot of other great cards in general for Regalis pieces, but this isn't a mass deck, so we could actually include one. I feel like it is pretty good. For the trigger lineup, I am running a bit of a rainbow because, like I said, this is the wave strategy. You just keep hitting them over and over. You're multi-attacking. That's really where your pressure is coming from. So you don't need as many crits. I still have the Into-Soul crits. You don't need them if you don't want, but 5 crit, 3 front, 3 draws, and then 1 still Blessed Favor. Is Blessed Favor in here? Yeah, there it is. But yeah, that's the OT of my choice right here. I don't think there's anything else I would really change with the deck. Getting into, this is obviously the main event, I guess, that everybody's been looking forward to. This is Patriarch. So Patriarch, super fun to play. It takes advantage of generics. It does a little bit more of a streamlined process. You don't need to be so free-flowing, quote unquote, as like Elder, or concentrating on getting that grade 4 reride. Now I've seen people do I think it's the hostage package with, what is it, Anger Love, and then Anger Love, you know, they run like one of Magnolia, Elder in this. It's just too much to commit. For the times where it doesn't actually go off, it feels so bad. There's things in this deck that help you find your grade 3. I feel like there's enough support as is to kind of do that, and we'll go over that as we speak, but let's just start from the top down. Again, same ride line here. We're literally still going with the cat into the big cat all the way through. 3 copies of the Persona Ride. Obviously, we're going to be getting that triple drive now that we are Persona Ride, hopefully. Persona Riding, hopefully. Just really taking the potential of this deck and maxing it out. This might be the best in terms of all-around performance, I think, for this build. This might not be your favorite. Like, play them all out. Like, everything feels different. That's what I really love about Magnolia. Like, yes, this card is an upgrade to the other 2 builds, but by itself, it unlocks like a whole nother feeling for me too. So I feel like I could literally just build Magnolia decks and like have my own kind of, I don't know, be entertained at least. I feel like I'm playing different stuff in general. We are running one of the, the Divine Skill, or the Ace unit for this over here. Just goes and searches cards from the top of your deck. Also powers itself up. Feels very natural in the deck. I feel like this is the best build for it. I feel like things are a little bit tight. If I wasn't running the grade 4 package searching stuff right here, I would probably put it into this deck, maybe cut one of these, but again, I kind of went over my choices for that. For this one, it feels easier. I did cut one for this deck, one of the Lilikoi, which is a big difference. 3 of this, again, you find one or 2 of these, and like they keep on recycling themselves. They feel good. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. You don't need them at 4 the same way the other deck does. Since we are constantly going into Patriarch here, there is a counterblast associated with that skill. I want this guy because I want 2 copies always to kind of be in play. One for the counterblast reduction cost, and also one to just fill my field. Feels pretty good to just do that without having any issues. This right here, in addition to another card, really makes your ride up feel effortless. You feel like you are not plussing necessarily, but it doesn't feel bad discarding from hand. On top of that too, when you do Persona Ride over here, you can choose a grade 2, the grade 2 normal unit with a different card name from grade 2 or less. I'm sorry, yeah. Different card name. Put it into your hand and then discard a card from hand, but you can then revive things from drop, so it doesn't feel bad at all. You can bump that to 4 if you want, but I think in addition with the other grade 1, it's fine at a 3 of, in my opinion. Still running 2 of this. I know it kind of sucks. It's not ideal because we only get 1 revive off of it, but again, you're kind of like chain reviving in a lot of different ways. And +2 with the interaction with the Persona Ride, discarding something here, getting it back off that, you know, just one of these is in play, boom, you can just build a board again off of that 1 card starter. Gold to go it's still at 2. I feel like that's a sweet spot for this deck. Find it, keep it in play, keep getting that draw off of it. It's great. Alpin, because we do need a resource generator. I like the number off of this. I like the fact that like it helps us not be so worried about resources in general. So I still include it at a 1 of. You can cut that if you want as well. I want options in this to close out because we don't have the Dragon Tree marker thing. So like we have the back row Persona, which, you know, you probably see on screen the little goat in the back, but this guy just helps with the guard restrict as well, something that's been around for a while. I haven't run it in my Elder deck in quite a bit. I haven't really put it in Masque either, but I feel like in this deck it lives in a good kind of space where like if your opponent commits a field and the field doesn't disappear, has a grade 1 on there, boom, like you've changed the dynamic of the entire turn. They're gonna see this, they're gonna have to plan around that attack. On top of it, you know, when it actually does attack, it's getting that extra guard restrict plus the 10k, so it's pretty decent. I think at a 1 of, it's fine. This one over here, Ganesa, we have the counterblasts in this deck so long as we keep having this guy refund our cost for our Vanguard. We have options like the guard restrict guy, this guy right here, like they're options to kind of end the game and become that level that maybe Magnolia Masque kind of does a little bit easier, a little bit more effortless. 2 of these on 1 turn, you pop them. You're just like constantly, you have the triple drive, you can spread out on triggers. Feels really good to end, and this build specifically, I feel like it just feels different. An Elder, 1 of feels fine because, like I said, we're regenerating a lot more. This one wants to kill at the speed of Masque, but also have the ease of play of Elder. Yeah, I'll say it like that. That's I think the way I feel about this. Over here too, the Honest Rendition, Sincerlet. I think that's how to say it. It's Sincerette. I don't know, something like that. But basically, this is a card fodder. You draw a card if you get rid of it. Also on drop, if you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard with Leonorn or Magnolia in its card name, your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, you put this card to the bottom of your deck, choose one of your rear guards. That guy becomes an additional, it becomes a base of 15k until the end of turn. If you Persona Road, it becomes an additional 20, so helps with numbers, helps goes and finds. Cards through draw, just in general from your ride line. Like, I don't like this card. I wish I can just include more Sylvan Hornbeast stuff, but at the same time, I feel like you need to make sure that you're in a good spot by the time you get to your first Patriarch turn. This kind of helps you do that. On top of that, just the 15k to 20k kind of base feels good overall. It is very important to find your Magnolias, so of course we're still running 3 Serral in here. You want a Persona Ride, like there's no other way around it. You want to keep doing that. You have to do it. So Serral really helps us. Also, the whole point of Persona Riding in this deck is to Persona Ride, so giving your back row that benefit as well is just super nice. Like, this feels really effortless in terms of power, and again, it's like an in-between play style wise of those other shoe decks, which I really do like. 4 of these, actually, because we are running a defensive order over here, it is a blitz order, so you don't want to run into it where you have both Elementaria and that in your hand. This is really good. Like, you can pop this down and get more value out of it later for, what is it, Twin Cast? Yeah. So it just insulates your deck. Like, everything's still, like, let's break this down. Card draw, rebuild field, card draw, pressure, card draw, resource generation, fills your field. Like, everything is so effortless, and get card draw. There's like so much that helps have such a smooth, this is such like a, I don't know how to say it, like developed archetype where there's so many choices, so many options, so many things that like accentuate what it wants to do at any given moment, that I feel like Twin Cast just kind of fits in the deck in terms of insulating and being a little bit more secure in terms of guarding. Yeah, and like I said, 4 of the PGs there. In terms of the triggers, we are running a little bit of that same rainbow as I am in Elder. I kept it pretty much exactly the same. That's just how I feel when I play this deck. It always just feels decent. You win through through the number of attacks, not through the pressure necessarily of the attacks, like Magnolia Masque. Magnolia Masque, I feel like you're on a timer, so like you have to close the game. This one's, I feel like, you know, you should be in the driver's seat a lot of the time. So like these other triggers benefit a lot. Like you should have standing rear guards in the front row that will benefit off of this, plus a triple drive on your Vanguard. The draw trigger helps you kind of get more resources to live the next turn, maybe get into your persona ride there. The 5 crits are still good because crits win games, but aside from that, that really is the build for this right here. I'm pretty adamant on this. I really like where this list kind of ended up as I'm playing it. It feels just really nice, feels really, really cool. So I'm glad what they kind of did with Patriarch. Lastly, let me take a sip of water over here because I'm dying. I don't know if my AI software is going to cut that or not, but I definitely just took a drink. This is the budget list, and the budget list takes a huge just detour, changes a whole lot of things. Take this whole list with a grain of salt because there are no triple rares in here, but on top of that, there are double rares that became really expensive that I wish weren't expensive. So they've changed like the whole dynamic of this deck, and we have a completely different like win con, so to speak, in this now. So as you can see, I've changed the ride line here. We are going more order heavy. Orders help us revive. We don't have the revival pieces that we did, and I feel like that's such an important thing in Magnolia. So we are running the tier husks to get in order. This guy over here to draw cards. Like you want to feel, like I said, flush by the time you get up to Magnolia Patriarch. Obviously maxing out on persona rides. Still one of this guy over here. I still think this is a decent card in terms of power. A little bit of insulation it gets with the guarding. Like I feel like it's hard to kind of pass up on. Also, if you are boosting this guy with the grade 1 we talked about before, you could hit some pretty sweet numbers pretty easily. But I want to talk about these 2 cards right here. This is your main strategy now, as weird as that sounds. So let's go over this guy. This is Silver Hornbeast Tigralta. Tigralta in the front row rear guard circle. When your other unit in the same column as this unit attacks, that guy gets an extra 10k until the end of battle. So who's attacking in the same row? Oh, guess what? Our multi-attacker. So till the end of battle, I know, yes, it sucks. That's the end of battle, but let's break the numbers down now. Your initial poke has now become, this is an 8k, gets a 5k hopefully from your Vanguard, gets an extra 10k from this. So that is going to be 13, 23k on top of potentially a little bit more. There's another card we're going to go over in a second, but you're getting 15ks out of people's hands a little bit earlier, and that's the point of this. Then you go to boost this guy, so hopefully, you know, there's something over here that could give power, which I'll go over in a second, but you're hitting pretty sweet numbers. This will be 18k, 23k, boosted by another 13k. You know, getting in that 36 could be actually a little bit more than 13 in that case in the ideal scenario that I'm talking about. So you really reaching that 41k number, 23, 28, or into that 38 or 41k number with the full combo. And this is the other card that we're talking about right here. Your attack pattern is going to be a little bit out of whack, but when this guy does attack, you can Energy Blast 2, choose 2 of your other rear guards. They get an additional 5k. You need a grade 3 or greater Magnolia, so that's why I only have 3 of instead of 4 of. But we are running this guy to hopefully boost this, who is also getting boosted by this. So it's like a really weird kind of like poke strategy. It is very difficult to make a budget deck for this. Like I really had to rack my brain. I went through a lot of games with different stuff, and like I almost tried to make, what is that order card that is now name band to Zorga, the one that gives you crit and power for all the stuff in your drop. I basically created like a middle list that like focused around like this guy restanding off of that, but then, you know, the band list kind of came out and whatnot. So I'm gonna stop there before I get too into it. These guys are still cheap as of right now. I hope they stay that way. It really is not that much. Still the same concept, you know, draw. Hopefully you see these guys, just draw off them, get that resource kind of going, make it to your next turn. Every single persona ride, every single triple drive is another chance at taking the game. This guy too, because, you know, it's a common or a rare or whatever it is, and it's actually a really decent card. You know, you want multiple of these in play, so playing 4 of them does not feel bad. Getting it to your rear guard circle, also reducing your Vanguard's potential counterblast cost feels good. One of these, I think these are getting a little expensive, but they're still decently affordable, and I think with the cost of everything else in this deck being pretty cheap, like you can really build this deck under 30-40 bucks, I think, overall. But yeah, it shouldn't be too bad, right? I think it's around there, yeah. But I think one of, again, just having this ability to kind of do this, you can attack where you can put him behind the tiger over here. You know, you're boosting 5k off Van, 10k off this, 10k off that, like a lot of different options. I feel like this is decent spreading power. It sucks that it's in the front row, doesn't give itself any power, but at the same time, hit a front trigger and boom, you know, change that whole dynamic. And then lastly, the big change, we're gonna go over the orders in a second, but the last change for the normal units, the squirrel, Alvin, I think it's a squirrel at least. I've seen, or an otter maybe, otter squirrel hybrid, I don't know. I've seen games won because of this card in Magnolia in like crazy situations, so I figured why not. It's a cheap card, put it in here. It feels really good. Makes you basically a battle door guard 2 or more at the same time when, you know, when this guy attacks. So feels decent in that regard. And this is, you know, for a budget list, it's not gonna win you every single game, obviously not, but when it fires off, when it does what it wants to do, it can be decent. It really actually, it gives you the idea of Magnolia, the flavor, and maybe somewhere to build from there. A lot of the bones are still in there. 2 Mythiarch habitats, I think these are like $1 or $2 now. Still searching your deck feels like a cheat code. Top 7 feels really, really good. I am running 2 more of these orders at this point, or 2 of these orders at this point, just because we want more card draw. There's not a lot of stuff that does draw outside of this guy right here. Mythiarch helps search, you know, things of that nature. This guy revives, but there's not like a lot. Golden Goat's missing, the revive guy, the promos. I didn't want to include them because they do get a little expensive, and sure, it might be $3 today, but if it's triple rare, it might be $7 tomorrow, and that kind of defeats the purpose of budget in my opinion. Also, 2 of the spiritual body condensations. Like I said, we don't have a lot of that revive stuff, so you have to choose. Do I want to maybe draw if I run into it, or maybe I want to revive and get the extra 5k. The Soul Blast also helps get this guy out, so it's like a mini engine. You put this guy into Soul to draw at the end of turn. Obviously, this guy Soul Blasts him out next turn, gives an extra 5k. Just, you know, making nicer thresholds in general. So the triggers 8 crit. You want to end the game as quick as you can on a triple drive. I feel like this is the way to do it. You don't have so much of the luxury as the other 2 builds in terms of the rainbow. For budget, I always say, always, if you're going to run a vanilla trigger, you know, that's just how you're kind of running the deck, your situation, whatever it is, always run fronts. Doesn't matter unless it says specifically I need a draw to make this Vanguard skill work. Like, run the 15k shield. It's going to save you a lot more than a 5k shield in general. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was a really long video. I put a lot of time into doing this. I'm sorry if I rambled at certain points over here, but I'm pretty passionate about this archetype. I wanted to bring something to you guys that utilizes every single one of them. I feel like I did kind of do that with this, and I like my lists personally. Tweak them as you see fit, but this is definitely the way I want to play it. I'm gonna have all the codes in the description. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Make sure to drop a comment to let me know if you would change anything in any of these lists. I have some other really cool ideas too coming up, so stay tuned. Hopefully, oh, drop my ring right there. Stay tuned, and we'll get that content out. Thank you guys so much. This is Alex from Alex CFE signing out.